To Washington he goes. Fresh off winning the Canadian election, Prime Minister Mark Carney is now staring down a high-stakes visit to D.C. He's scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House Tuesday. Carney is describing the meeting for his part as serious, but is downplaying expectations for a quick resolution to Canada-U.S. tensions. Take a listen.
Do not expect white smoke out of that meeting. There'll be white smoke probably later somewhere else in the world this month, but do not expect that.
With me now are two former Canadian ambassadors to the United States, Burney and Frank McKenna. Such a pleasure to see you both, and a great honor to have you on the program together. Mr. Burney, I'll start with you. How big of a deal, in your view, is this meeting?
First meeting with the president is important. And I like the tone that our prime minister has taken throughout the campaign on what the relationship, what has happened to the relationship with the United States. And so I'm quite confident that he will adopt a similar realistic tone in a meeting with someone who everybody's trying to still figure out.
Mr. McKenna, what is your insight into how these meetings can essentially set the tone for a longer-term relationship?
Well, the tone at the top is always important, and personal chemistry, if you can get it, is just absolutely spectacular. You know, we saw the results of that with of course, Ronald Reagan and Brian Mulroney, but with other prime ministers and presidents as well. In this case, it's a particularly challenging situation. Obviously, because we have thousands of people out of work as we speak as a result of the tariffs that have been imposed. So there really is a lot of pressure to get some kind of a process started. Certainly won't be finished, but we do need to get some kind of a process started. And I think it's important to have some kind of a level setting as to expectations. What does the president really want? And what are the real facts? Because as we all know, you're entitled to your opinion, but not your facts. And the president is using facts about the relationship that are just patently wrong.
Do you think, insofar as the approach Canada takes and this Prime Minister takes, Mr. Burney, the priority should be on lifting the tariffs, or should we be embarking on another negotiation about another new NAFTA that ultimately Donald Trump ended up contravening?
Well, I would be very cautious about jumping into another negotiation with an administration that isn't living up to the one it's got. I think caution should be the watchword for the Prime Minister. We need to clarify what it is that is upsetting the Americans or Trump about relations with Canada. As Frank has said, he's made all kinds of cockamamie suggestions about how unfairly we're treating them on trade, despite the fact that we have a formal agreement. But I do think we should try to clarify what his objectives are before we respond. And we should certainly not volunteer anything up front. I mean, we know they're unhappy with our military contribution. We have to correct that ourselves. And the Prime Minister shouldn't hesitate to state that in an opening comment. But on the trade front, we have to be supremely conscious. We have things the Americans need. Donald Trump doesn't believe that. We should demonstrate to him, in fact, what it is we do have that they do need. And if they want to jeopardize that, so be it. We'll live with the consequences.
Do you think that he can be convinced of the facts, Mr. McKenna? Which is a weird question to ask, I concede, but it is the world in which we live at the moment.
No, but it's almost a trick question. I don't know the answer to that, but let's just bore into what Derek has talked about. We have an agreement. We had an agreement, which was NAFTA, and that was torn up by this president, who said was the worst deal ever, and then negotiated a new deal, which he said was the best ever, and now he's ripping that all to shreds. So one of the issues that our government and others around the world is going to have is how do we have a binding relationship here? How can we trust this president? The other thing that Derek said, I just want to emphasize, and that is we do need to correct this impression the president has left that they need nothing from Canada. Mm-hmm. We have virtually the largest trading relationship in the world and the smallest trade imbalance. We're the biggest consumer of U.S. goods, biggest supplier of aluminum, of steel, of nickel, of uranium, of potash, of oil, of all of these commodities. The president's just dead wrong. They do need us. 31% of the tourists going to the United States are from Canada. So we need to set the facts and the record straight on that as well. Whether or not he will accept that, I don't know. I think we should almost have a fact sheet with us, the delegation that goes to Washington, and distribute it to the press and Congress, and everybody else will listen, just so we can try to level set the facts.
I wanted to conclude. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
And Vashi, it's not just the administration that doesn't respect the importance of Canada to the U.S. The American people at large are basically ignorant about the mutually beneficial relationship they have with Canada. So the Prime Minister's message should be directed at the President, obviously, but he should keep in mind that we need to do a lot more on the public relations side to convince the American public that the importance of Canada. Because as the President's popularity wanes, and it's already beginning, we can rely on the public and the Congress more than we've been able to in the first 100 days.
I'll just follow up with you, Mr. Burney, and ask each of you, I just have a few moments, a final question. The Prime Minister has asserted throughout the campaign and again, you know, in his press conference as Prime Minister at the end of last week, that the relationship, the level of interdependence we had with the United States as we knew it is over. Do you think that's true?
You me first?
Yes.
I think he's right. I've never seen the situation that we're confronting today. I don't envy the Prime Minister and the challenge he faces, trying to establish mutual trust and cooperation with a president who's so unpredictable and whose mind changes so rapidly as that of Donald Trump. It will take time to heal the bruises that this president has done to Canada. I'm generally, I applaud the manner in which the Canadian public has responded to it. I think it's just terrific. We've seen a strike of pride and nationalism that I've never seen in my lifetime in Canada. And it's across the country, including Quebec. And I think that's great. And that's a big asset for the Prime Minister going in to meet with somebody like Donald Trump.
Same question to you, Mr. McKenna, to end our conversation here. Do you think he's right? Is that relationship as we knew it over?
Yeah, emphatically. But we have to have context. We can't change our geography. We live next to the United States of America. That's not going to go away. They'll always be our biggest friend, our biggest ally, our biggest trading partner, all of the above. But we do have, if we're going to have an equal relationship, we need more leverage. We have to have other markets around the world. We have to have other friends. To paraphrase Ronald Reagan, trust but diversify. We need to diversify our economy. We need to reduce our reliance on a single trading partner.
I will leave it on that note. Thank you both very much for sharing your insights with us today. I appreciate it.
You.
Thank you, Derek Burney and Frank McKenna.